Welcome to Mindset in Stone podcasts, where we dive deep into the most compelling books on the shelf. Join hosts Dave and Poppy as they uncover the stories, themes, and ideas that shape our understanding and inspire curiosity. Get ready to explore the big ideas that leave a lasting impact. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Mindset in Stone podcast, where we take complex ideas, distill them down, and turn them into actionable insights for you, our dedicated learner.
Today, we have stacked up some incredibly focused source material, a genuine masterclass, really, on transforming your life from the inside out.
And this deep dive is all about leveraging the fundamental principles of the law of attraction, what many people call the secret, and applying those principles very specifically to the three biggest areas of life. Right?
Exactly. Love, health, and money. We're getting right to the core of what people struggle with and what they desire most.
That's it. We are unpacking a highly motivational deep dive, and it's all centered on this really radical idea that your thoughts are not just some fleeting background noise. They are quantifiable, vibrating packets of energy, and that energy, it acts like a magnet, drawing matching circumstances directly into your reality.
And that premise, which is rooted in some really ancient wisdom, but also supported by modern ideas in, say, energy physics, is powerfully simple. Your dominant thoughts become things. If you can genuinely internalize this one law, you sort of move from passively reacting to life to consciously determining the trajectory and the quality of the experiences you have.
So our mission for you today is pretty clear. We're extracting the practical shifts, the daily habits, and the complete perspective changes that empower you to take back the steering wheel.
We want you to stop letting life happen to you and start creating a magnificent life with precision and, with intention.
And to do that, we have to start with the absolute non-negotiable fundamentals.
The foundation of it all.
Okay, let's unpack this. The source material describes the law of attraction as the, and I'm quoting here, all-powerful law that keeps everything in harmony, from atoms to countless galaxies. That elevates this concept way beyond just self-help and into the realm of universal physics. So what exactly is this law, and how can it possibly govern both celestial mechanics and, say, my daily anxieties?
Well, it sounds cosmic, and it is, but the foundation is actually pretty simple. Everything at its core is just vibrating energy, from the chair you're sitting on to the air you're breathing. And when the source mentions quantum physics, it's really emphasizing this idea of, wave-particle duality. Until a quantum possibility is observed or focused upon, it only exists as a probability.
And our thought is the observer.
Your thought, as focused energy, is the mechanism of observation. It's what collapses all those probabilities into a single concrete reality.
So my thought isn't just a mental event that happens inside my head. It's an energetic broadcast.
Precisely. Every single thought you have possesses a specific energetic frequency. If you think a happy thought, that thought radiates a high, happy frequency. The law of attraction then operates on this principle of vibrational resonance. Like attracts like.
So it's not magic, it's matching.
That's a great way to put it. Your thoughts magnetically attract people, circumstances, and events that are vibrating on that identical frequency. The experiences that are dominating your life right now are the direct manifestation of the thoughts you have held most dominantly over time.
And what's truly critical here, and I think this is the part that trips up most people, is that this law is completely impersonal.
It's utterly impartial. The law doesn't analyze the moral content of your thought. It just responds to the frequency it receives.
That is the ultimate accountability check, isn't it?
It really is. It's working all the time, responding to all thoughts, positive or negative. And this leads directly to the single most critical mistake people make, focusing intensely on what they don't want, rather than consciously focusing on what they do want.
The don't want trap.
Yeah. So if I spend my mental energy worrying about an economic recession or agonizing over a difficult conversation I have, I am inadvertently using this powerful law to summon those very scenarios.
And the most insidious part of this whole mechanism is that the law of attraction doesn't compute negation. This is a vital detail we really need to understand deeply.
When you use words of avoidance or negation like don't, not, avoid, or stop, the law just ignores the negation word and responds only to the root concept and the emotion that's attached to it.
Okay, walk us through a complex example. Let's say I'm preparing for a big presentation at work, and my thought is, I desperately don't want to fail this presentation.
So consciously you want success.
Of course.
But the frequency you're transmitting is rooted in the emotion of fear, which is attached to the concept of failure. The feeling of desperation and the mental image of failure are the dominant broadcast. So the law receives, I want more circumstances that cause me to feel desperate and focused on failure.
But practically speaking, how do we decouple the word from that emotional fear? I mean, it's easy to say, don't think about a pink elephant, but the instruction itself forces the image. When a huge bill comes in the mail, the fear of lack is an immediate, powerful gut reaction.
And that's where consciousness comes in. You have to train yourself to recognize that the fear is the frequency, not the bill itself. The only way to stop feeling the fear of the flu is to immediately replace it with the feeling of robust health. The moment you catch yourself in a negative thought pattern, you have to become the conscious editor of your reality.
You have to interrupt the pattern.
You have to. And this brings us to our first, immediate, and I would argue most important action item from the sources. Practical takeaway 1. Eliminate negation. You must actively monitor your internal dialogue and your spoken language. The goal is to transform any expression of avoidance into a positive affirmation of what you already possess or desire.
So instead of saying, I hope I don't get stuck in traffic today,
You must switch immediately to, I am perfectly aligned and my journey is smooth and swift. This immediate positive reframing shifts your internal frequency from fear and avoidance to one of expectation and positive reception.
it's about consciously planting different seeds, isn't it? Knowing that the harvest depends entirely on the seeds you plant, even if you're planting them in the middle of an anxiety storm.
Exactly. The feeling state, not the rational mind, dictates the outcome.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. The sources outline a foundational 3-step creative process: ask, believe, receive, to harness this law for anything we desire. It sounds simple, but I'm guessing there's a lot of nuance here. Where do people generally falter?
Well, you're right. It sounds simple. And people usually falter in step 2, the belief part. But honestly, step 1 is where most lack the foundation for success in the first place.
Let's start there then. Step 1, ask. Get clear.
Clarity is the genesis of all creation. You have to be absolutely precise about what you want. The source material warns against sending out mixed signals, which, will only attract mixed results.
Right. If you vaguely ask for more money, you might find a quarter on the street. The universe delivered.
You might attract a 50-cent check you already forgot about. If you're looking to attract a partner, you need specific details, not just a nice person, but what specific qualities, what values, what shared life goals are you looking for?
So the universe is like the ultimate universal supplier, but it requires a very precise order form.
Absolutely. The celebrated money case study in the source material highlights this perfectly. There was a woman who didn't just wish for financial freedom. She got incredibly specific. She focused on needing exactly $10,000 to clear her debt and finance her dream trip to Japan.
That specificity gave the universe a crystal clear target to hit.
It did. Which leads us directly to step 2, believe, undying faith. If step 1 is placing the order, step 2 is living as if the package has already been delivered and is sitting on your porch.
Okay, now this is the tough one. Because you have to act, speak, and think as if you've already received it right now.
Correct. And this is challenging because we are conditioned to operate based on our current physical reality. But the universe operates outside of linear time. It only operates in the present moment. Your belief must project the feeling of possession today, irrespective of what your current bank account or relationship status looks like.
The sources mention that doubt is the single greatest inhibitor. So if my thoughts contain even a brief recognition that I don't have it yet, I'm basically just attracting more of not having it yet.
Exactly. Doubt is a counter frequency. If your dominant thought is, I want this, but I just don't see how it could ever happen, that lack of belief creates momentum for the absence of the desired thing. The manifestation might be ready to arrive, but your frequency is essentially rejecting the delivery.
So that explains the latency issue, that gap between asking and receiving. The gap isn't time.
The gap is the alignment of your belief.
So the reason things don't manifest instantly is because we haven't sustained that feeling of belief and expectation long enough to generate the necessary magnetic momentum.
Precisely. If you ask for something once, then immediately revert to doubting thoughts for the rest of the day, you're hitting the brake and the gas at the same time. The job of step 2 is to maintain a sustained, unshakable faith.
And then comes step 3, receive. Feel good.
Yes. The only real requirement for receiving is to align your frequency with what you want by feeling good now. This is the joy and gratitude that proves your belief is solid. If you can feel joy and gratitude in the present moment, you are automatically tuned into the frequency of receiving all good things.
Let's go back to that woman who needed the $10,000 for Japan. The source says the money came in the form of back pay from an ex-employer from a decade earlier.
Yes, and other completely unexpected sources. It just showed up.
That just shows the immense power of the universe as that universal supplier that transcends normal logic and our limited ideas of how.
It absolutely does. And this brings up the biggest practical trap in step 2. When you start trying to work out how the money will arrive, maybe I need a new job, maybe I should ask for a loan, should I buy a lottery ticket? You are trying to force the logistics.
Which, as we said, introduces doubt.
It's the ultimate act of doubt. That lack of faith short-circuits the entire creative process. Your job is only to ask clearly, believe you have received it, and feel the joy of the outcome. The universal intelligence knows the shortest, easiest, and most harmonious path like recovering forgotten decade-old funds. When you try to figure out the how, you're implying the universe is incompetent, which is the ultimate contradiction of belief.
Let's move this into relationships, because the sources suggest that our interactions provide the greatest opportunities for transformation. And the core message here is powerful and immediate. You must be the change you wish to see in the relationship.
Yes, and this is the application of the law that requires the most immediate internal surrender. You simply cannot have dominant thoughts of dissatisfaction, criticism, or blame about a partner, a friend, or a colleague, and then somehow expect to enjoy a relationship filled with love and mutual respect.
It's that like attracts-like principle again. What you give out, you get back.
Always.
But this does raise a common skepticism. If I am in a troubled marriage and I start thinking only positive thoughts, does that mean I am somehow overriding my spouse's free will or, forcing them to change against their will?
That's a crucial distinction, and the law of attraction fully respects free will. You cannot change another person, and you cannot override their own power to create their life. What you can do, however, is change the energetic frequency of the interaction.
So you're not changing them, you're changing the energetic space between you.
A perfect way to put it. You are essentially shifting the energy you bring to the relationship, making reconciliation or harmony a possibility that they are naturally drawn to, rather than forcing them into it.
The case study of the woman whose marriage was crumbling really illustrates this perfectly. Her husband, an Air Force officer, filed for divorce while he was deployed, and her initial reaction was, understandably, resentment and anger.
Right, and her reality was manifesting more reasons for that resentment. But she made a courageous choice to change her internal world. She stopped focusing on the abandonment and the blame. Instead, she consciously chose to focus only on the love, the appreciation, and the positive attributes she still valued in him.
The change was entirely internal, but the manifestation was external.
Completely. Within weeks, he reached out to her, not with some logical explanation, but with the feeling that they needed to reconcile. Her change in thought manifested a harmonious outcome because she shifted the field of energetic attraction between them.
Which brings us to a really practical technique for transforming our existing, imperfect relationships.
Yes, this is practical takeaway 2, the appreciation experiment. If you catch yourself criticizing, complaining about, or finding fault in someone, it could be a difficult boss or an annoying neighbor, you must immediately pivot.
Immediately.
Correct yourself by finding 10 genuine positive attributes in that person. List them internally. This deliberate shift moves your dominant focus from the low frequency of fault-finding to the high frequency of appreciation. And the sources suggest this miraculously improves relationships.
10 sounds like a lot if you're really annoyed with someone.
It is, and that's the point. It forces you to dig deep and shift your energetic momentum completely away from the negative.
So it's about stopping the effort to change the other person and focusing all your creative power on your own internal response.
Exactly. Now, what if you're looking to attract a new romantic partner? This is where the act-as-if principle becomes absolutely vital. You need to send the signal that you are not just waiting, but you are ready and expecting them now.
Okay, so this leads to our next takeaway.
Practical takeaway 3. Act as if. Ready for romance.
Yeah.
To attract a partner, you have to align your physical world with your expectation of receiving them today. The source gives very tangible, almost playful details. For example, keep the front passenger seat of your car perfectly clean and uncluttered, because it's reserved for your perfect partner. If you eat alone, start setting the table for 2 every night. Consciously make room in your closet for their future clothes, or place a second unused toothbrush in your bathroom caddy.
These actions aren't just, silly rituals. They are powerful physical commands that tell your subconscious mind and the universe This is a present reality, not some future hope.
You are eliminating the frequency of lack and loneliness and replacing it with the frequency of anticipation and certainty. The universe knows the exact match for you, but you have to stop worrying about the who and start focusing on the feeling of being in that perfect relationship.
This reminds me of the specificity we discussed earlier. The source tells the story of the man who journaled about his dream girl, even naming her IU.
Yes, he wrote a whole story about her.
And when he later met the woman of his dreams, her middle name was IU. It just shows the incredible detail the law works with when you give it clear instructions.
When you combine that act-as-if expectation with the emotional clarity of the ask step, you remove all the doubt. If you are physically preparing for them, you are no longer searching. You are waiting for the arrival.
Let's move to the physical realm of health. The source material claims perfect health is our birthright, but, well, that we often use the immense power of our mind to manifest illness. So, what is the precise mechanism here? How does our mind command our physical body in such a literal, cellular way?
This is a deep dive into what we can call the subconscious command system. Your conscious mind, the critical, logical thinker, only processes a tiny fraction of your body's activities. The subconscious mind, however, is the tireless master engineer.
It's the background operating system running the whole show.
Exactly. It's governing all involuntary functions. Your heart rate, hormone regulation, digestion, cell regeneration, and your entire immune system. And critically, the subconscious mind lacks the faculty of reason. It doesn't judge or analyze.
It just accepts.
It accepts whatever you put into it, either through repeated conscious thought or intense emotion, as a direct, unfiltered command to the 100 trillion cells in your body. Whatever you believe to be true about your health, the subconscious mind accepts as law for your physical form.
And the ultimate proof of this system is, of course, the placebo effect.
The placebo effect perfectly encapsulates this command power. When patients receive a simple sugar pill, but they believe implicitly that it's a powerful new cure, their subconscious mind is commanded to heal the symptoms, and it does. It could achieve the same biological results as the actual medication.
So conversely, if we carry around these negative accepted belief programs, things like I catch colds easily every single season, or that fatalistic belief that high blood pressure runs in our family and is therefore inevitable,
Then our subconscious mind takes that as a direct, ongoing order to manifest those very realities. It's essentially using the law of attraction against yourself to attract chronic illness or physical frailty.
So the path to eradicating disease is not to fight the illness, because fighting it just focuses attention on what you don't want, but to focus relentlessly on wellness and perfect functioning.
Yes, and the solution offered is the use of powerful affirmations, which serve as personal mission statements that can bypass the conscious filter.
Explain that. How do they bypass the filter?
Well, the conscious mind acts as a watchdog, or a critical factor. If you consciously state, I am perfectly healthy, but your rational mind immediately replies, no, you're not, you have 3 persistent symptoms, the message gets rejected.
Right.
But affirmations, through repetition and deep emotional conviction, they slip past that critical watchdog and sink into the subconscious, becoming a new command for healing at the cellular level.
The case study involving the woman facing abnormal cervical cells close to cancer who needed urgent surgery, that is truly breathtaking evidence of this power.
It genuinely is. It elevates this whole discussion from mere positive thinking to actual physical command. Despite this severe diagnosis, she made a fierce commitment to herself. She didn't ignore her doctor, but her main action was an intensive mental reprogramming.
What did you do?
She repeatedly affirmed, I am healthy, I feel healthy. She focused on the feeling of vitality and wellness day and night until she believed it profoundly in her bones.
And the outcome was, well, it was nothing short of miraculous.
On the day of her scheduled surgery, her doctor performed the final examination and found absolutely no signs of abnormality or cancer. Her cells had healed themselves completely. It was a result the doctor admitted he had never witnessed in 45 years of medical practice.
So this brings us to the foundation of a powerful affirmation.
It does. This is practical takeaway 4. The power of I am. The 2 most powerful words in the English language are I am. The words that follow are literally summoning creation with a mighty magnetic force.
So when we habitually say things like, ugh, I'm so tired, or I am sick of this, we are literally commanding the law to deliver that reality.
You are. You must consciously replace those self-defeating statements with, I am happy, I am healthy, I am strong, I am filled with energy every single day. And you have to recite these slowly, giving equal emphasis to each word to really feel the conviction, I am well, You have to feel the feeling of wellness now for the subconscious to accept the command.
That focus on feeling the conviction is paramount. Just saying the words is recitation. Feeling the belief is commanding the cells.
That's what changes the inner physical world, which then instantly changes the outer physical reality.
Okay, let's talk finances, because this is where many listeners feel the most immediate resistance. The source is absolutely clear on this. Your current financial reality is a perfect reflection of your dominant past thoughts about money.
It is. People who struggle are focusing on lack, while the wealthy are focused on abundance.
But what is the practical daily difference between a poverty mindset and a wealth mindset?
The difference is primarily consistency of thought and your emotional relationship with money. A poverty mindset repels money because it views money as scarce, difficult to obtain, and something that causes stress or fear of loss.
This is why lottery winners so often go broke, isn't it?
That's the perfect example. They suddenly acquire massive wealth, but they haven't changed their internal belief system. So the law of attraction just moves the money away, aligning their external reality back with their internal scarcity programming.
So holding $1 million is irrelevant if your internal broadcast is still, I don't have enough, or this money won't last.
Precisely. Conversely, a wealth mindset attracts and holds money because it views money as a useful tool, a flowing resource, and something that brings positive feelings like opportunity and freedom. Those who maintain a wealth mindset emit consistent thoughts of prosperity, and the law just continuously moves resources toward that resonance.
The cycle of debt is a classic example of this poverty mindset in action. If I receive a bill and my internal reaction is immediate worry, anxiety, or resentment, that negative feeling is the energetic broadcast.
And that bad feeling is a powerful command. Bring me more circumstances that cause financial anxiety. You have to actively break that frequency cycle by finding ways to feel good about money, even as you're paying it out. The feeling state about money is infinitely more important than the physical act of paying.
So if my default reaction to handing over money is emotional pain, I have to consciously override that internal pain button.
You do. And the Source provides a fantastic way to override it, turning the painful act of bill paying into an energetic game.
I'm intrigued.
This is practical takeaway 5, the money game. There are 2 techniques here. First, when you're dealing with bills, stop seeing them as drains. Instead, imagine they're actually checks you are receiving. Feel the gratitude for the service you needed and were grateful to receive.
Okay, what's the second technique?
It's practicing the I can afford that affirmation. For the next 30 days, every time you see something you like, no matter how expensive, immediately replace that old scarcity thought, oh, I can't afford that, with the powerful affirmation, I can afford that. I am a magnet for money. This starts to reprogram your internal dialogue from lack to possibility.
And that reframing helps convince your subconscious that you are capable of receiving, even if the funds aren't literally in your account yet.
It does. But the most accelerated path to wealth, according to the Source, is through gratitude. This is the golden rule of gratitude. Gratitude is riches, complaint is poverty.
So how did gratitude turn into a wealth multiplier?
When you express sincere, felt gratitude for the money you pay out, thanking the utility company for the warmth they provided, or thanking the grocery store for the nourishing food, you attach what the Source calls a magnetic golden thread to that money. And this emotional energy guarantees the money returned to you. It might return equally, tenfold, or even 100-fold, depending entirely on the degree of gratitude you give.
So if I begrudge paying a $200 internet bill, I block the return flow. But if I pay it with sincere thanks because I recognize the incredible service it provides me, I immediately magnetize exponentially more wealth back toward me.
That gratitude costs you nothing, but it shifts your entire frequency regarding money from scarcity to an expectation of abundance. And that shift is worth more than all the physical money in the world.
Imagination. This is one of the most powerful creative tools we possess, and it integrates across love, health, and money. The sources emphasize that visualization should be an active, sensory experience like directing a movie of your life, not just holding a static photograph.
Yes, visualization is powerfully focused thought, projected through pictures and then amplified by deep feelings. As we've established, the subconscious mind cannot differentiate between what you are intensely imagining and what is physically real. So when you visualize, you are bypassing that critical conscious mind and literally impressing a new reality onto your internal command system.
So what are the best tools for making this visualization practice a constant and highly effective habit?
Well, the vision board remains a classic and powerful tool because it provides a constant external visual reminder. You fill it with pictures of your desired outcomes: the perfect home, exotic travel destinations, goals for robust health, pictures representing your ideal relationship. It forces your focus every time you look at it.
And there's a remarkable example in the source material concerning fertility and visualization.
Yes, a woman who was struggling with significant fertility issues and miscarriages created a vision board. She found a picture online of a beautiful baby and placed it over her desk, a baby who happened to share physical features with herself and her husband. After a long journey, she gave birth to a healthy son. Months later, she was looking at her board and realized that the baby picture she had used was the spitting image of her 15-month-old boy.
That is staggering evidence of how the subconscious mind works tirelessly to achieve the visual mandate it's given.
It really is. And journaling or detailed writing is another powerful method for getting that clarity and emotional intensity. We already talked about the man who wrote a story about his dream girl, naming her IU. Writing out the details of your desired relationship or your dream career in the present tense, I am so grateful for my loving partner who is, makes it feel real and impresses that detail onto the universe.
Let's connect this act as if concept to professional life. This is vital for both career joy and financial abundance. If I'm looking for my dream job, how do I apply this?
If you're looking for a job, you must stop thinking of yourself as unemployed or searching. You have to start living as though you are already fully employed in that dream role. Your goal is to eliminate the frequency of lack and emit the frequency of readiness and professional competence.
So this is our next practical takeaway.
Practical takeaway 6. Act as if for career. The source shared the story of a college graduate who, after weeks of failed interviews, realized her actions mirrored her insecurity. So she implemented a strict regimen.
What did she do?
She started getting up early, dressing in business attire, setting non-negotiable business hours for her work, which was research and networking. And crucially, she established a separate savings account for her anticipated paycheck. She used a journal daily to write about how grateful she was for her imaginary job and her supportive colleagues.
And by changing her inner world and her outward actions to align with having the job, she manifested a perfectly suited position within weeks.
She did, because her thoughts and actions were no longer saying she was looking. They were screaming that she was ready and expecting.
This all circles back to a core lesson in the source. You must choose joy over financial security. If you're doing work you hate just for the money, you are broadcasting a frequency of misery and lack.
And when you choose joy, passion, and belief in the perfect outcome, the wealth and success follow naturally. You get what you feel you deserve, not what you think you should earn.
This has been an extensively detailed deep dive into creating a magnificent life by mastering the law of attraction. We covered the immutable connection between thought, feeling, and physical reality across relationships, health, and abundance, focusing entirely on the immense creative power you possess.
So to boil all of this down, what are the 3 non-negotiable shifts we need to make today to step into that role of conscious creator?
Okay, first, starve the negative. If you encounter something you don't like, a health condition, a lack of money, or a strained relationship, you have to take away its only power, your sustained attention. Immediately pivot your focus toward the desired outcome. Remember, the law does not process negation. It only processes the root emotion.
Second, prioritize your frequency. You cannot attract happy circumstances, healthy conditions, or joyful people while you feel bad or broadcast critical thoughts. Happiness attracts happiness. You must be happy, joyful, and optimistic first. Feeling good is not the reward for success. It is the prerequisite for attracting success.
And third, use gratitude as a universal multiplier. Gratitude is the fastest bridge from misery to happiness and from lack to abundance. Being grateful for what you have, what you've received, and what you are about to receive accelerates all manifestations, physical and financial.
And we want to leave you with one final, immediate challenge that leverages this multiplication power of feeling-based gratitude.
This is practical takeaway 7, the Daily Gratitude Challenge. For the next 7 days, choose 5 items in your life. They can be past experiences, a specific relationship, a fully functioning body part like your sight or your lungs, or things that money already bought you, like the roof over your head or your car.
And for each of those 5 things, spend 1 dedicated, intense minute deeply feeling genuine, heartfelt gratitude for it.
Just 1 minute each.
When you commit to combining the specificity of the item with the deep intensity of genuine felt gratitude, you activate the multiplication effect that sends a powerful magnetic signal to the universe.
Remember that you are an infinite being and the creator of your own life. Your ability to think good thoughts and feel good feelings is unlimited.
So our challenge to you is simple. Today, Commit to focusing only on what you want and what makes you feel joyful. How dramatically will your reality shift by next week? That power is entirely in your hands, waiting for your command.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. Go out there and start creating the magnificent life you deserve. We'll catch you next time.
We hope you're leaving with fresh insights and a spark of inspiration. Remember to subscribe, leave a review, and check back for more episodes as we dive into new worlds of thought, one book at a time. Until then, keep your mind set in stone and your curiosity open. This has been a Big L Riz Media podcast, where big ideas meet lasting impressions.